As you know, trauma is our core work. So if something traumatically has happened, then we want to make sure that we go in and neutralize all the mental pictures and everything around that traumatic incident.
Mhm.
However, there's a little bit of a lie in the industry of people thinking that once they do trauma work, that they're never going to be triggered ever again. Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. May you live your truth. Hi there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super excited to know truth with you today. What is your question?
So mine is how do I release what I feel is a tag to a trigger? I left a toxic workplace due to racism, and I feel that I've healed from it. But over the last couple of days, I've had to drive by that place. And just driving by that place as a place a morning routine that I've had to do regularly, I started thinking negative, and I don't like doing that. Like I started thinking, like situations and making stuff in my mind. And then it just kind of trickles for a couple of days. And I find this every single time I drive by that place.
Okay, great. So we have to know the perfection and just acknowledging you, okay? I don't know exactly what you went through, but I just want to acknowledge you for whatever trauma you did go through and, you know, the challenging things, the suffering, but also the blessings and
Mm.
everything that I'm sure that came out of that as well. So, as you know, trauma is our core work. So if something traumatically has happened, then we want to make sure that we go in and neutralize all the mental pictures and everything around that traumatic incident.
Mhm.
However, there's a little bit of a lie in the industry of people thinking that once they do trauma work that they're never going to be triggered ever again. And that's really not the
Yes.
truth in that we may neutralize something that happened to us and begin to, not be as reactive and stuff like that. But we have to know that we're also tapped into the collective. So something like that where someone, had discrimination or say even a sexual trauma or something, it's not done until the whole world is healed. And that's why, as you know, when people come in to do their deep trauma work, they may heal themselves, but that's why they have a divine calling and mission to come out of it because they cannot be healed until the collective wound is healed and it's both sides. So whether it be, the person that did whatever also needs healing as well. So we're in this collective because we're one. Our perpetrator is actually us. We're also the victim and the perpetrator are one. There's one collective wound coming together in that. So I hope that brings some revelation what's there for you around this.
I felt that. Like I almost felt like a pain in my heart in terms of thinking of it as a collective. It almost feels like, then when am I going to heal? Because I almost feel, and I don't want it to be like negative, like, yes, I want the collective to heal, but I also recognize it's an institution that is, you know, like I want to say stuck in their ways. And I see it not on a healing journey. And I feel like, does that say that my healing is dependent on on their healing? And it makes me sad because it's like not that I'm waiting for it, but I was just like, when will that happen if I'm dependent on it? And then on the other end of that
Mhm.
is it makes me want to release them because there's parts of me that want to say, I wish they were exposed. I wish everyone knew what happened within those walls. I wish everyone would speak up with the pain that happened in those walls. Um,
Wait, so and this brings in
yeah.
a really important topic, okay?
Right.
When we're doing trauma healing, that has nothing to do with legal stuff. Legal stuff should be taken care of. Like if we feel that someone did something that was illegal or wrong in the world, that's why we have a legal system, is so that we can put ethics and standards and morals in collectively that we agree upon. Okay. So we don't want to spiritually bypass and think, well, I'm just going to heal and then I'm going to release it. It doesn't work like that. And that's where people's calling. So for me, what's indicating out of this is that you care deeply about this and you feel like there's something unjust that has happened. And so not only healing, because one thing is healing the mental picture so we're not as reactive, but if we don't actually take action around what we believe is true on the planet, right? If everyone just didn't care and they just healed, but they didn't do anything about it out in the world, then it would be a very chaotic world. So we have ethics, we have morals, we have legality and stuff like that. So what's indicating is two things, three things really. One is, of course, to do the healing work on thyself. Also, to know that there may be something that you have a calling and a mission to come out of this. Okay. And three is, how do you want to handle it from a legal perspective? And I would now never tell someone to take legal action or not take action. But what I help people do, as you know, is getting true what's true for them. Okay. So I would really take a look at the inventory on those three things and take bold action on all three of those fronts.
Yeah, I think in terms of legal, I don't want to take action. I
Okay.
tried to, and it just I tried and it didn't work. Sometimes one's voice versus a big giant, and that, but I have been open about my story. And so this is where I feel like I'm doing my work for the collective because I'm being open about how I stepped out on that, regardless of the pain that I had to go through. And I've gone through a healing journey. So this is where I feel like I am healing and healing part of the collective. If others are in that same journey, I'm here for you. If you're willing to step out, I'm here for you. That's where I feel that I am. That's where,
Great. And this is exactly what we just did, which is very similar to what we do, as you know, in the schools, we will transmute emotions. So when we drive by a place, we may get triggered and we go, huh, do I actually need to do deeper trauma work? Or is this actually my emotions are telling me where I'm not living my truth, right? So it's actually the fuel for us to
mm,
keep going. So it's
okay.
like a blessing in disguise because it's literally propelling you even more in your passion and what you're up to, what you just said, right? So
Mhm.
it's like there's part of us that doesn't want to actually let that go because it's fulfilling upon our karmic thing that we're here to do. Okay. You could choose to completely give it up today. You're like, I'm just going to release it. You could, I'm not saying you
Mhm.
should, but it's a
Right.
choice. Or you could say, hey, I realize that these emotions are working for me because it really is in alignment with what I have not completed. And there's work for me to do by helping others go through it, whatever else. And it's fueling my desire to fulfill that karmic thing that I want to fulfill here, right? But the truth is, you are in charge here. You are one with source. You are one with the creator, and you, by the power of your mind, decide if you want to keep having those emotions, if you want to neutralize them, if you want to keep them to propel you, or if you want to completely release it. The power is you because you
Mm.
are the power.
Thank you for saying that because using it as a fuel is a positive way of looking at that emotion. And I'm going to try that. What I want to feel is I want to feel neutral so that I can, and I still feel that I feel fueled to do the work regardless of being triggered or not. I want to feel neutral when I pass by that place. And the reason I say neutral is because when I pass by that place, it's almost like I go into sadness for a bit and I come out of it, but I don't want to go into that sadness for a bit. I want to just be going like, I left that place. I'm in my power now, and I'm going to
Okay.
keep doing the work for others. That's how I want to feel.
Okay, great. So you know what we teach, which is we go from the neutral, say we drive by and we feel something negative. What do
Mm-hmm.
we do? Well, we have to be able to get into that neutral space, which means in meditation, prayer. And if we're not able to get there through that, that means there's more trauma work to do. Okay.
Okay.
We want to first go to that neutral mind to have choice. And then we can go to that active creation of making a difference in the world of what we want to see in the world. Okay. So don't try and bypass it. Like, oh, I don't want to be negative because that's
Okay.
resisting the negative, which is going to
Okay.
persist the negative. We want to fully feel the negative, transmute it through the neutral mind, and then go,
Mm.
okay, now I'm taking action. But it still is the trigger. It's still the trigger to say, that's the fuel that demands me to go within, to know the truth of who I am and the power of who I am and choosing to create what I do want to create in the world. Okay. So don't bypass it, but know it's always working. Life is always working for us and not against us. And I
I like that.
know you have a massive mission. You have a massive calling. And I know that life and God doesn't give to us what we can't handle. And you've been
Mm.
given this assignment of whether you want to call it good or bad or this awful trauma thing that happened. regardless, it is a assignment. It's a blessing in disguise because you have chosen at whatever soul level to take this on, to rise to the consciousness that it will take to transmute this level of trauma.
I love it. I love that,
Yeah.
Dr. Thank you so much. No,
Amazing.
that's
Let's
helpful.
take a deep breath together real quick. Just putting the hands together, putting it at the sternum between the heart and connecting the right and left hemisphere of the brain and the heart and head. I recognize this divine woman is she is a force. She has come in, and I recognize whatever's happened, whatever suffering, whatever trauma is really the divine appointment for her to remember who she is, for her to not just take back her power, but to use the power that be, that she's one with the divine creator and that she can choose to create, whether it be healing, whether it be revealing, whether it be legal, whatever that is, that she has that power. And by the commanding and declaring of her word, she moves energy. She moves the energy of this universe. And so I'm knowing clarity and power. May you use whatever it may be. Sometimes it's offensive, defensive of those energetics that come through us. Use them. Don't be used by your emotions. Use your emotions. And I know this absolutely as she propels herself up and up and up into a higher vibration, creating heaven on earth. It is done as together we say, and so
And
it
it
is.
is.